to being a business owner in record time. She's 21 years old, did you say? Excellent.
Never ask a woman her age.
Hello and welcome to the ROTHENBERGER Pipe Up podcast. Here today with Sophie Davis, aka Sophie Pink Plumbing on Instagram and I dare say other socials. Also, CEO of Pink Plumbing and Heating, is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to talk about Soph's journey from an apprentice to being a business owner in record time. She's 21 years old, did you say? Excellent.
Never ask a woman her age.
Yeah. So, how have you found it from apprentice, first and foremost, at college? Did you ever think you'd be at this moment? Not here, I'm on about as a...
It's my dream to sit behind a red screen.
Yeah.
No. At college, I always said, I'll just stay employed. It's easy. Being able to go home, switch your phone off, and that's it. But sort of started to realise that I wasn't always enjoying the type of work and the flexibility. I wanted more flexibility.
Yeah.
So it kind of sort of got to the end of my apprenticeship, and I think I got itchy feet a bit and was like, my opportunities now. Yeah,
go on your own and do it yourself.
Yeah.
So flexibility for what? Obviously, because you're like quite big on the social media and things like that. Are you want it to be flexible so it gives you time to do your other things, or as well?
Yeah. It's nice wouldn't have to be on site 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Especially in the winter.
Yeah.
It's just nice, and also I quite enjoy being in different environments. So being able to do a couple jobs in a day and be in different houses each day of the week, and different problems, different parts of work. It was more that as well.
Brilliant. And is it so from a apprentice? So how did you find the apprenticeship?
It was definitely up and down.
Right.
It's 4.5 years. Even if you're talking about how much you're learning, you're still growing as a person. Like I started it when I was 16.
Yeah.
To finish it only sort of just like 4 or 5 months ago now.
Yeah.
It was definitely tough, and I found as well that apprenticeships they're still not viewed as a good option.
Right. Okay.
Much as people try and like put funding into them, they're still not very well supported.
Right. Okay.
So it was definitely, I found with that, it's a waste of time. Now it's getting, I found towards the end of the apprenticeship, people are starting to support them a bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely at the beginning it was tough when you're trying to do something different and then people are telling you it's still a bad decision.
Tough as a girl in the trade doing it then at apprentices, because I do a lot of talks at colleges. And obviously it's still male dominated, but there are a few, and I always try and focus on the people who are being quiet at the back, because they're the ones who 9 times out of 10 quite more interested. Is it still a thing? I mean, from your point of view, did you find it difficult being a girl in the business, or?
Yeah, I'd say the college bit was almost the easy part. It was the sort of originally started in the commercial sector in plumbing, so that's even more male orientated, because a lot of people who were doing them were specialists working away. So and even it'd be the clients, the customers, the managers. You would get some like crazy comments, even coming from women. And I'm like, surely that's the one person who should have supported.
Yeah.
But there's definitely, the stigma's getting better, but there's definitely some days where I think, it's getting so much better, and then like literally had last week hit you in the face, someone having a go at you just for doing your job.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you've still got 2 hands. It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing, not the 50s.
And I've got pretty big man hands anyway.
Yeah. So when did you pass then? 5 years ago? When you say pass, because I never did college or anything like that back in the day. So how did that come about? What do you have to do to get to this level? Yeah,
so out of school, the requirements at the time were you had to have C and a B in English and maths.
Right, okay.
You had to have the GCSEs there to be able to apply for the apprenticeship, whereas now it's a bit more flexible. Actually, you can work on your maths and English now while doing your apprenticeship to hopefully encourage more people to sort of pick it.
Yeah.
So you sort of do that, and then you have your level 1, which is your first year, level 2, level 3, each one being a year. And that would give you a level 3, like I think it's an MVQ now,
right, okay.
In plumbing and heating. And each year you would do different assessments, practical and like written, and then it would get to your last year where you do your like traditional gas course. So then you do your ACS and all your like papers and things like that in your last year.
So have you done anything with the renewables? Because obviously that's the big thing at the moment, the big talking point. We've just done a day at a renewables particular renewables college. Is it something they discuss at the colleges as part of your syllabus or whatever you call it?
Yeah, you briefly sort of touch over it, but in your final year you can either pick to do your gas, your renewables, or oil, or like your biomass, things
you
like
went
that.
Gas.
So what's your employer? That's what's crazy is actually your employer picks it.
Oh right. Okay.
So you spend your whole last year. It's fully funded, but most of them pick gas to get their money's worth. But we did touch on renewables, but still, I don't think as talked about as it should have been. And if it was talked about, it was always in a negative way.
Right. Okay. Yeah, and it still is to a point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Starting to get there in one way or the other, I suppose. So, have you been back to your college? Have they welcomed you back, or have you? Because I saw something on the social media that you went back to the college.
Yeah, they've been absolutely wonderful. Yeah. So I went back with Lawton Tubes, and with CT1 to. It was sort of just encourage the kids. So we taught everybody about the recyclable side of copper, about how you can entirely recycle the product, and it can be put back in, how it's made, how we get it from the ore in the ground, and things like that. And then we sort of done a competition with the students because there's no better way. Everyone's competitive.
Yeah, exactly.
So we sort of done that, and it sort of gave them a confidence boost. We taught them a new skill of like bending like 180 degree bend and things like that. To make like a copper heart, and then sort of they could win prizes depending on how quick and how good it was.
The copper heart thing's gone mad, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I'd like to say it was us who started it, but it wasn't. We started doing it at the shows just out of interest, and then next thing you know, everybody's like asking for one. It's so funny, isn't it? How I think it was Pete, wasn't it, who was first one who I saw do it anyway. So from the social media point of view, from college, if you like, are you able to do some content at college, or would you have to? How did you make that work with the social media side? Yeah,
because they were all mostly adults, you could sort of just talk to them, and a lot of them were happy for it too. So we did actually manage to get like some interviewing of them, asking about like what they sort of learned during the day. And also we sort of done talks. I'd done a talk with them because I don't know the scientific side of copper and all that too well. But I sort of talked to them about how maybe they could start their own social media and sort of the benefits you get from that. With even the network of people you have to talk to, it's a good way to sort of feel proud of what you do. And it's it's a lovely way to showcase if you ever did want to start on your own. You've got this wonderful library of work that you can show your clients. And something free, what you can just show them from that, what isn't costing you anything. And people, you can showcase your work, which is great from what I can see, by the way. Speaking of social media, so from a friends' point of view around social media, have you got like a close-knit sort of group who you speak to more, or? I wouldn't say it's necessarily a group of people. It's more individuals you've met over the years, and like I'll have some that I can be able to call on site that day if I've got an issue. For example, for me, I've gone from not really dealing with open vented systems and having issues with them, and been able to call up people, and within 30 minutes I've sorted the problem. Just by having phone calls and having that network of people. But I've met, and also it was a good way to meet a lot more women in the trades. Because little old Norfolk, I've never worked for another female, so there hasn't been that many. So it was nice to be able to meet individuals, not just in plumbing and heating, but throughout all their trades that have sort of had similar journeys, and usually a lot of them a few years ahead, so you can sort of get the advice in advance and sort of learn off what they had to go through as well.
And a lot of people as well, so speaking to other people doing the podcast, it's not just that because you're younger, 40, 50-year-olds still phone around each other talking about it. It's perfectly normal. I always say, if you're gonna, if you don't know something, don't pretend you do or anything like that, because it always ends in tears. So you'll do that. I'm still learning, and I'm a couple of years older than you.
I used to hate it. I'd always have at the beginning, every day's a school day, and I used to go, but I want to learn and you won't. You'll never learn. That's what I've learned. That's one of the things, you'll never learn everything.
No.
There'll be something you come across that no one has ever heard of, and that was I had an issue, and I was spoken to a couple of plumbers, and one knew what it was, and the other one had never heard of that problem. And I'm like, they've both had over 20 years experience, but it's you're just you're always learning.
So if you had to pick something in the industry, best bit, worst bit?
Best bit is, for me, is being able to do something practical. Like, being able to put, for example, like, a lot of times you'd say, oh, don't take art in school, don't do these creative subjects because they'll go to waste.
Right.
But actually being able to pipe work, like, it sounds really sad, but pipe work is artwork. Like, you can get these beautiful plant rooms you see people do, they learn how to bend, and it's like, it's really also improved my math skills because I wasn't the best at it.
Right.
But actually doing this job, I can now add numbers in my head. Like, it's such little things like that. Like, I always feel like you're improving with the job, and it's so nice to have a job like that where there's always a next step.
And a work
you're not stuck in one place. But I think the negatives I had, especially at the beginning, outweighed any sort of positive. And I know there's plenty of times I wanted to quit the apprenticeship because but it was always other people. It was never because of the job, but it would be the people and the environments you're around. It wouldn't necessarily be my co-workers, but it would be like I spoke about earlier, the management roles, and you'd have some like absurd things said and done that you wouldn't believe happened still now.
I can imagine. I've seen it myself still now. When I was repping, when I first started, a girl behind the counter, a merchant, and the guy was just, and then he looked at me like, oh, she's not going to know, is she? I won't say what I said, but I just couldn't believe it. Like you say, it's like the 1950s.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And it was worse. It wouldn't even be general things; it'd be actual personal things. And
oh, really?
It's like I wouldn't go up to you and go, "Oh, I hate the way you look." Or things like, I know, sorry. No, but you would, like, in my head, it would never cross my mind to say those things to strangers as well.
Yeah.
And like, I remember, like, even when I was at 16, working in these sort of big commercial sites, it was always blokes. It was always, like, I felt like massive people because I'd only just come out of school. It was the first place I'd ever worked.
Yeah.
But, like, you'd have people exposing themselves, and you're like, and you wouldn't believe that still happened 4 years ago. When they talk about it being such a welcoming world and do you know what I mean, being welcoming females in trades or even young people, because it's not that's a whole nother issue in itself.
Well, exactly. Wow, that's really shocked me. I can't believe it gets that bad or got that bad. And I dare say it's rife out there, as you say, especially with apprentices coming through such a young age, and it's little, mind you, little Soph. Oh, it's little Soph or young Soph and all that, but you don't mind that. Yeah. But then when you've threw me there.
Yeah. No, I won't even get started.
I bet. Yeah. So, from obviously apprentices, then you've moved into working for other people, and then you decided to go on your own. What was the main catalyst behind doing it yourself? What you said earlier, just. Freed, a bit of flexibility,
but also proving a point to yourself. Yeah. Because it was such like a thing of, you'd always think, no, you bet it's not good to do it. Or there's no work out there. You're not going to really struggle. You don't know in that, like, you're never going to know. Like, this is what I sort of got to the point of. It's never going to be the right time. Yeah. You're never going to know enough. You're never going to be ready. No. That's what it feels like. Yeah. And it ended up like I'd had a slight push, and I was like, do you know what? Yeah, I'm done. I'm gonna do it and see how it goes.
And how'd you balance that with obviously the social media side and the what I'd call the boring bit, the business side, and tax and all this sort of stuff, sorting it all out yourself. Yeah. How are you finding that? And obviously you said your maths is a lot better now from plumbing. So how are you finding that?
It's a whole different ball game. Yeah. Like, I found that the social media side I kind of dropped at the beginning because to me it wasn't a priority. And it was more that I needed to get the confidence when going in people's houses, because when I'd ever sort of done jobs, it was on new sites. So there'd be nobody around, no customers. So I'm still learning that side of it. But eventually I've started getting more and more back into the social media, and like, I can't wait for the things I've got planned for the rest of the year. Right, excellent. But the actual work side was always okay, because that's what I'd done every day. Yeah. Like, at the end of the day, you can do all the social media stuff, but you still haven't actually you still got to go and do the work 5 days a week. But I really struggled with the business side of it, because there's no manual telling you how to do that. They don't teach you in school how to do that. They don't teach you in college when you're doing an actual business apprenticeship. No. So that was something I really struggled with, and that was when it was having that network of people I could talk to. I've got parents who were self-employed, partner who's self-employed, so that did help in that aspect. But you still I still don't feel like I know enough. I'm sitting there going, I'll just get an accountant to do that for me now.
That makes a lot of sense now, because you had gone quiet on social media for a bit, and that's obviously coincides with what you've said there. So because obviously this is all great and everything, but you've still got to pay the bills, haven't you?
But at the end of the day, I've got a real job. I've got an actual business reputation over an online. I'd rather, I've got to pick your business over anything. Absolutely,
because that's what it's all about. So you was talking about Lawton's earlier, for instance, and obviously I know there's different words for it, but I like to use ambassador rather than influencer. I dare say you do as well. So you've been, I think the first time you came over to Germany with us to ROTHENBERGER head office tech centre.
Yeah.
How have you found those experiences? And I dare say you've done it with other people as well.
It's one of those things. It was absolutely insane to me that a company was willing to invest in actual people.
Yeah.
This is like, anyone who's ever done it, and being able to have that opportunity, especially as a young person so early into your career, it's such a learning experience, and you're getting knowledge that people who have been 40 years in the trade have never even touched yet. And it definitely helps you helps you progress actually as an engineer yourself, and it's just something that I'm super grateful for. And it almost blew my mind when I remember I got the first ever email and they were like, would you like to come? And I was like going to my mum, I was like, I can't believe it, someone wants me.
So that would be 4 years ago, the first time. So you were 17 then, and you was in again that big bad world, because there was you and Sandra, I think. God, you was
there was
into
two
the
of
deep
us.
end.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, you had to learn a Celine Dion song, didn't you, as well? If I remember.
Don't talk about that. I'm a plumber, not a singer.
But so how are you finding it? Obviously, not just with ourselves, but the importance of it, not just for yourself, but in general. Like you've just said there, you found a lot of things out very early doors going to our place. But then you've just mentioned earlier about Lawton's recyclable copper.
Yeah.
All those sort of things. How have you found? You obviously find it interesting, because you wouldn't.
I'm a little nerd.
Yeah, which is great. So, how do you find that's helping you as a person in the business?
I think it's
apart from the obvious, if obviously we've got tools with us or something.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, I think it is that. Actually, we talk to customers about it and saying, you sort of describe. It's hard to explain the concept to customers. You'll be like, I've almost been on a course and I've learned about this, and being able to be confident in the products you're using, the tools you're using. Yeah. Actually, as a business, the customers really value that, because obviously there is the whole thing of like, it's getting more and more of the cowboy builders. The lack of trust actually in the trade. There's none, next to none. Like, people won't even trust you to just go to the toilet in their own house, things like that. Yeah. So when a customer sees it, you've got the actual technical knowledge and you've done the training and you're still trying to learn more, it puts your business a step above.
Yeah, and that's with obviously Ethan, your partner as well, because he's self-employed as well, isn't he? Yeah. So do you bounce off each other talking about? I bet he's helped you with the business side then at the start.
Yeah, we both take. He's a very organised person, and I am not.
Right. Okay.
But it's helped. Yeah, it's helped through that, having someone who's done that. He's in a complete different trade with tree surgery, so we can't always talk about the knowledge, the tools, whatever. But the concept of how to start the business, maybe try this with your advertising, things like that. Because at the end of the day, the social media is amazing, but 90% of my probably 99% of my followers live nowhere near me.
Of course.
And it's complete different parts of the world. So actually, it was almost still like having to go out off your own back, and I've had to do the Facebook ads. I've had to use like the Nextdoor app and things like that. Okay. Because the social media was amazing for learning, expanding my knowledge, but actually getting work, I wouldn't get anything off there.
No. So is that, so when you say advertising locally, you mentioned Facebook, what else do you do over there from an advertising point of view? Yeah,
so there's obviously like the Facebook groups everyone knows about. There was an app called the Nextdoor app, which is what I live in quite an elderly area in the countryside. So they're all on there, and that was where you could say, people would put on, can I have recommendations for this? Or it'd be for general village advertising. Yeah. But I found that I found that I could get most of my work through little jobs because plumbers are so busy and in demand. They can pick and choose what they want now. Obviously, starting out, I don't have the I don't know what the word is. Don't have the liberty of doing that.
Of course.
But through that, I was able to get those little jobs like tap changes. It isn't interesting to anyone else, but that was how you can build your business, build your clients.
And you're learning all the time, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's the thing, because I went out and about speaking to people who have been doing it for years and years. They go, oh, no, I don't do bathrooms. Oh, God, no, I don't do... all I want to do is service. I don't install now and all this.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of... There is work out there for people who don't want that sort of work. And I dare say you'll end up like it as well, where you'll be thinking, no, just leave it, leave me to servicing. I'm talking a long time ahead sort of thing, because that seems to be the general chat, what they all say.
It's a way to still work without killing your body.
Yeah, and that's exactly it.
Yeah.
So, and speaking of that, actually, that's a good point. So one of the reasons, when I joined this place, I came off the tools and my knees and elbows, and I used to be driving along in my van, especially in the winter, and finding myself doing this with wrists and all that. I know you're still very young in the business, but are you looking after yourself as regards knee pads and things like that?
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that you'd always talk to people who had done the trade, like the people who were training me, and they'd be like, oh, knee pads just weren't a thing. No. The protective equipment wasn't a thing. And it would be like, you'd watch them chase out walls with no mask, no goggles, and as like coming into trade, you'd be like, oh, that's insane. Like, you need to wear they basically scare it into you need to wear all of this. And you do see it being worth it, because for example, my knees are still alright. I'm able to do sports alongside and not have the pain. But I think it's definitely looking after yourself. And I found one of the things you got to make sure, like, you get so busy, then you forget to eat, you forget to drink, you forget to take a break, and that's what this is what it's like. If you can't stop, you've got to. Yeah. But actually, I found that now being on my own, I can have the time to actually sit down for 20 minutes and have a cup of tea. Yeah. When I was on site, it'd be from 6:30 in the morning to 4:30 at night. I wouldn't have stopped. Yeah. And you're like that takes a toll, definitely.
Yeah, that's quite because you have to make time for yourself, and also driving to places. I always find that people who are rushing around and all that, they're always late. Whereas if you just make that bit more time, leave a little bit earlier in the morning, things like that, and just plan your day ahead. I don't miss that about being on the tools, to be honest. But that was the sort of thing why I quite enjoyed what I do, what I did, because you were always, I was always ahead of, regardless of traffic jams and all this sort of, I always think, that road's going to be a nightmare, so I'll leave an hour earlier. It's common sense, isn't it?
Or drive 20 minutes round the other way.
Yeah, exactly. So, from the tools point of view, from not just us, but generally, what is your favourite? Press and solder is always the one. What do you prefer if you had to pick one?
That's always the debate, and the debate we always have with customers is the price and the time. Yeah. Soldering takes longer, the price of press is more. Yeah. And it's always that like complete weighing. Because I started out my career with only ever pressing, and I think in the first 2 years I'd never gone through a reel of solder. Really? And then I switched to a company where I was doing one reel of solder every week, if not more. So it's like, I love the skill of soldering and the art of it if you've got tight spaces, but the press technology is now getting better. Like, you've got the angle jaws, you've got things like that are making press more accessible. Yeah. And like, they're getting better and better. Like, the fact you can have certificates on your fittings, you can get warranties, whereas the soldering is, it's soldered, it's not leaking, but that's it. Yeah. So it's such like a pro and con, but I'm trying to get into more press, but it's the same thing as the budget. Yeah. Where like a fit, it might cost £1.70, whereas it's 10p
for the end feed.
Yeah. But if the job's allow, it's always a press. But most of the time, you're ending up doing the soldering. But
it's still very much press itself. When you out and about a tool fair last week, and people are saying, "Do you think this will ever take off?" It's gone mad, hasn't it? Press is like,
it's gone insane.
I'd love to know the percentage between the two on the whole, not just obviously from ours.
Even in the last 2-3 years, how much people are pressing now.
Yeah, if I had my time again, I I would have definitely had a press tool.
Well, I think as well, like the flux fume, I think that like over someone's career for like 50 years, you're breathing in the flux fumes. Like for me, if I ever get on my hand at blisters as well, because they're so acidic and things like that. Yeah. And then obviously you've got the risk of burning yourself, burning the houses. So it's all got those things of actually it is getting better.
Yeah, and insurance point of view as well. Because obviously hot works and things like that.
Yeah.
Even though somebody told me yesterday that you still need a hot works permit for an angle grinder, which
the
seems
sparks.
crazy. So it does definitely save time more than anything. I remember when I first saw one, I was working in a prison, and I was waiting for a permit, and somebody straight out walked past with, I can't remember the brand, let's say ROTHENBERGER for the sake of today, and he was in and out, and he told me he was a plumber, and I said, what have you done? He said whatever he'd been doing, and he showed me. That's the first time I'd ever seen a press tool. I was like, oh my god, and now the price is okay. The initial outlay is always a bit how much, but the time it saves.
Well, if you've got a long run, that's what I noticed, especially coming from the commercial sector, was you've got loads, you might have 8 pipes in a row and you've got them going for 30, 40 metres. And it's so easy to be able to you haven't got to worry about someone coming to, obviously over 2 inch, you're having to weld it on gas and things like that. And obviously you've got the risk of that with the gas. So being able to just press it, not chuck it in, but it felt like that because of the speed difference.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It's incredible. And it's very important making sure the pipes are deburred and all that. So there's a little bit more to it. But after you've mapped out your work or whatever, just to be able to go and then it's done.
It's a lot less toll on yourself as well.
Absolutely. And a lot of people still say, it's no good for domestic. And I'm like, most people are using, well, I say most, a lot of people are
boiler
now.
swap. Yeah,
and you've only got to look at some of the work you see online, because I love straight lines. With obviously the pipe work and stuff. And I remember you doing something, a coat hanger or something with press, was it?
Yeah, I made a frame for my wedding as well.
Okay.
Like a press frame, and then I've done like a shoe rack and a coat rack out of the press, and it's so versatile.
Yeah, you can do everything. And the amount I was saying about the copper hearts, my customer Stewart's Plumbing and Heating in Leicestershire, they actually donated a load of copper for me. And it was for a charity thing I was doing, and we were selling the copper hearts, and they donated the fittings and the copper, and we made a few £100 just on doing copper hearts. It's amazing how people love them. Installer show, I've never known anybody come over to me so much asking for one of them.
I remember we had one year actually, it was all day for 3 days was these, and it's amazing. And also even through that, people are subconsciously learning about the press, because I remember when I first started, I'd go home, and even like my granddad was an engineer, so he'd never heard about these things, and I'd go home and go to my parents, this is how we use this tool, and it presses the pipe and it seals it. And to people who've never had it, it's amazing.
It's incredible. Everybody used to say to me, a lot of people at one time used to say to me, oh, okay, so where do I solder now? After I'd press, I'm going, well, you don't.
It's done.
Well, what's keeping it together? And all the sort of questions you get, it's incredible. So installer, not long away now, really.
2 months now.
Yeah. So what are you doing? Are you working there? Or are you just visiting, or are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing a bit. I've started over the years, and I'm doing a bit of both, because it is nice to actually. Something you talk about so much. I realised the first few years I'd never even walked around. So we've got a few different bits. Always pop and see you guys.
Yeah, cool.
And then do some bits of CT1.
Yeah.
Lawton Tubes. We're going to do some copper hearts actually for a couple hours each day. And then I'm going to go on to Powered Now as well, and actually get out there and talk, because that's a trade app.
Oh, okay.
And how you can invoice, book your work. Yeah. So we're going to sort of go around to people and just sort of spread the brand, but make some fun content as well.
And what's it called?
Powered Now.
Powered Now?
Yeah.
Right, so it's an online app where you can sort all your
it's like a similar concept to the QuickBooks.
Yeah.
But it's made for the trade, but you can also put on your stock and materials, so you can just go, I want what I used on that job, 10 of that, 10 of that, and add all the prices into it.
Right, okay.
It sends out reminders for you as well, and chases everything, so it's quite interesting.
It's all changed. So if you I don't know, other brands, obviously the ones, not just the ones you work with, but just in general, obviously preferably not tools. But is there any brands out there, for a shout out point of view, who you sort of really like working with, or the tools, or I don't know, products I should say you work with? Obviously,
well, not necessarily a product, but actually just starting out was the public liability in that side of my insurance. I've just sort of going through that, trying to find your first insurances, what do you need, whatever. So, ended up going with Rhino Trade. I didn't notice them until they were coming up on social media with everybody on there, and they're not on any like comparison sites either, which makes them cheaper. Right, I was finding that it was like £400-500 less than what I was getting on the comparison sites and things like that, and also actually just not necessarily just buying it, but learning why you need it, what it's for. That was really helpful, because I was like quite honest and was just like, I'm setting up a business, I've got absolutely no idea what I need, what to do. Like, can you tell me something that actually, because you don't want to go and get something and then there's this little clause down there and then it doesn't work out. Going back to that honesty thing, just being honest, hold your hands up, I don't know, please tell me. That's the biggest thing. Yeah, I think that's one of the things I found is like, you never stop actually learning, as much as it's annoying. That there's always something else, but that's also, I think, it makes people be able to relate to you, being able to go, actually, I've got no idea, or I hate doing this, or I really enjoyed that. I think that's how I found, like, to find a nice community as well online, and also with just people that actually are in my area. Is being able to just be honest and go, hold your hands up, because there's so much thing in this world of pride and like don't want to show anyone that you don't know what you're doing, but you'd rather ask than do it wrong. Absolutely. I still ask questions when I go out and meet plumbers, engineers. I'll still ask questions, or if they do something, because when I was on the tools I never really did threading and things like that. And obviously I now know a lot more about it, but I never really did it, so I'd be more than happy to listen to people rather than just, I work for these, so I better pretend I know everything. Exactly. You're never going to know everything, and like, our product books like that, so how you got any opportunity to learn everything? You just got to keep going as you go on. Exactly. You've got a long time ahead of you as well, especially if you look after yourself. So what's happening going forward for Pink Plumbing? Have you got I always get asked this about what's the next thing, and to be honest, I want to build my confidence in everything, really, because as much as I'm like on the camera, I'm like, once I'm on site, I'm like this. So I would love to be able to just learn as much as I can. Like, I'm starting to book in some courses of learning actually with individual boiler manufacturers. Right, okay. Because yes, I've got my gas and got that, but doing it in the workshops and then going into the site, everything's got its own quirks. Like, know, with certain cars, this is a normal problem for cars. Like, so we've got to learn it with that. And then sort of throughout the year, I want to start networking more. Like, sort of being able to collab with more people. That would be really cool. I think we were saying this yesterday, that the problem was with the collabing, all of a sudden you're in January, start this year. I know, and it's May this weekend. It's like, wow. And we're saying, I haven't really heard from you, and we're like, oh God, we didn't even realise we'd got to where we are. Because from our point of view, it's like tool fair, installer, screw fix show, and then obviously going out and seeing customers as well. Not me personally now, but going out to the merchants and seeing them as well. It's just all of a sudden ready for Christmas. I know. It's horrible, isn't it, to think like that? I know. So, what's it say? So, we've got a couple of different questions here. So, from your point of view, what tools changed your life as regards work? Changed how you work? That's a good one. I honestly, not so with the tools, but the organisation of them. Like, I found, like, the amount of different types of storage you can get now. For example, boxes now interlock that you get the products with. They've got storage parts in them. You could convert them into. So things like that, definitely. Because that's what I found is, like, it's not always necessarily what tools you got. Yes, you need to invest in quality tools. Because it will make your life harder. But if you can't find them, what's the point in having them? Exactly. So I think that's one thing I found, especially now going self-employed, is how organised you want everything to be.
Especially, if, like you say, self-employed, when you're working for someone, rightly or wrongly, if you leave a tool on site, well, when I say a tool, I don't mean like a huge press tool.
You forget a couple of spanners.
Yeah, exactly. You think, oh, you never mind. But when it's your own money, I suppose that's a whole new ball game, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I found, because I sort of started off with buying like a cheaper kit that the merchant sort of pushed towards you.
Yeah.
And then over time, like, you gradually build up your collection. Yeah. And I think it was, investing in stuff that isn't going to go rusty straight away, isn't going to go stiff.
Yeah.
I think, especially, it was something so small with grips.
Yeah.
Actually getting a quality pair compared to what I first had to what I use now is like for example, like you've now got like the buttons, so you can quickly slide
open
in
parallel
place.
And all that. Yeah,
exactly. You've got like flat jaw ones now. Yeah. It's the amount of, and they're always changing what comes out and things like that. Yeah. Like power tools, I was like, you've got 4 or 5 brands that you can buy that it's just going to be all right.
Yeah.
But it was, definitely was the hand tools. Yeah. Finding, especially for plumbers, it's like pipe cutters. Finding a good pair of pipe cutters makes your job so much easier. Because you don't want to go, the worst thing I used to find was you'd go away for a week, come back, and everything doesn't work anymore because it's not been used in a week.
Yeah. So speaking of pipe cutters, so if you've got painted pipe, because what I used to do, I used to have one for mucky pipe and then one for clean pipe.
Yeah, because it would just break them, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Do you do that? Do you have different ones? Yeah, just in case, because most things, if it's got paint on, it's going to cause tools.
Try and get it off as quick.
Yeah,
it's amazing what you find in some houses, like especially going back into the domestic. I think I was working on something the other day, and like someone taught me if you do the grip same size as the pipe and then rub it round, it will crack a lot of the paint off. Oh, right, okay. So I was doing that, and I was like layer after layer, got white, cream, green, purple, black, and I was just, like. That is one of the things I found, like going from like where you've got a new setting, you've done the fresh first fix, and now going into a house where you're doing alterations and things like that. I hate paint.
It's horrible. It's a real pain in the backside. So obviously installer, you're working with Lawton.
Yes.
And then you're working with
Powered Now.
Obviously you'll come and see us, as you say.
Of course.
So what's the do you do any other shows like tool fairs or anything?
I hadn't been able to because of being like on the book somewhere, but now I'm self-employed. I want to get down to some more of like the tool fairs, the FX shows, things like that. Because I've been to the odd 1 or 2 over the years. The first ever trade show I did actually go to was Tool Fair at Alexandra Palace. I went with. There was a girl in my local area who's a bricklayer, and she wanted to go, and she knew all these other girls, and that's how I ended up meeting all the other girls on social media and properly starting it up was through her. Yeah. I remember going to that first trade show for like anyone who's never been to a show. It was so like,
it's crazy.
It's nice going somewhere where you're in a place where everyone's passionate about the same thing. Yeah,
it's so much better from our side going somewhere doing a show because people are actually walking around. They've got a bit more time. Yeah. Whereas obviously
you want to be there.
To be there. You're there for a reason. So you want to have a look at things, whether it be good things, bad things, mowing or whatever it is. We're there to represent ourselves in our case. But if you're on a demonstration day at a merchant, it's like, I ain't got time for that. I've had people walk around the whole building to avoid the trade show because they haven't got time. Yeah, you've never done that, have you, Soph?
No, to be honest, no one comes to Norfolk. We're too far out of the way to go in the merchants. Yeah. You do sometimes get the odd few, but I think that is one of the things actually when you talk about all this stuff and they're like, we've got a brand rep, have we? It's definitely found if you were living like, for example, Midlands, London, you'd see a lot more of it. Yeah. But that's why the online stuff's so important, especially for people who don't live in the bigger cities. That's the only way you're going to find out.
Have you met Dan, our representative, up your way?
He met my mum before me, actually. He dropped my press tool off to her.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Okie dokie. So, away from work, I'll finish off with what do you like doing? I know, obviously, I dare say, you're fully focused into trying to start your business or carrying on with your business, but what do you do?
I switch off when I'm at home.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's good to hear, because you do. Yeah. I don't, unfortunately. So what do? You said you play sports and things?
Yeah, so I feel like every plumber at the moment is running marathons.
Are you going to do it?
I've just done one 3 weeks ago.
A marathon?
Yeah.
Oof, God.
So yeah, I'm one of them people. Yeah, started running.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do have a sports alongside. Like I like to snowboard when it's in winter, but because of work, it's too risky.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's one of those things actually. That's what I found. It's like even when you try to switch off at home, you're actually thinking, oh, if I go and play this and I break my leg, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Things like that. But yeah, I like running, and then I've got 2 dogs, so.
Oh, you got 2?
Yeah.
So I met Nala earlier. What's the other one you've got?
Maisie.
Yeah,
so be honest, that pretty much my life revolves around them.
Yeah, of course it does. So if you had to pick just one of our tools, this is the only question regarding our tools, because we're trying to make this as little to do with, even though it's ROTHENBERGER, we're making it about everybody else or the industry.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one tool of ours, what you've got, what couldn't you be without at the moment, or what's your favourite?
Do you know what? It's been my gas analyser.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Normally you go, oh yeah, it's the pipe benders.
Yeah, usually it's like the row bend or press gun.
Yeah, but actually I've found, because I've used loads of different brands throughout your training, and you sort of get chucked in with, oh, you're going to use this one, use that one.
Yeah.
But actually that's been one of the key tools I sort of had to get when going self-employed.
Yeah.
And it's just been so easy to use, the little dial in the middle, and it was just...
Yeah. Is it
easy
the
to read.
one with the row case and the whole set? You've got everything
Printer,
in there.
everything.
Oh, excellent.
And it's great being able to also give the customer a physical copy of the
Yeah.
readings, be able to put that on the report and go
Yeah.
and yeah, I've just found it so easy to use, and even
that's
like
good.
had my gas inspection the other day, and the guy was going,
Really?
yeah. So
Just for everybody, I'm guessing it's a 458S, so feel free to purchase at your local merchant. I couldn't resist that. And speaking of documentation, press, have you made use? Not everybody does, I totally understand it, but have you got the Compact 3?
yes, I do.
Do you make use of the app for documentation?
Do you know
I know
what?
it's early days as
Yeah,
regards.
I didn't at the beginning.
No.
But actually the other day, for the first time, I sort of got it all set up and had a little look at it to see, because hopefully I've got a job coming up soon that they want press and quite a bit of it.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to sort of give them the peace of mind and a bit of
Absolutely.
paper going like, this is a good job.
Because they're always updating the app, where you've got, obviously now I've noticed you can sign yourself, you can take photos, you can get the customer to sign, so you're covering yourself on site.
Yeah.
What fittings you're using, how many, and all that sort of stuff. So, okay. Well, Sophie, it's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. Lovely to see you. And no doubt we'll see you very soon.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Cheers.